No one knows what happens after we die. That question has haunted humanity since the beginning of times. There are many beliefs and theories that try to explain what could be beyond the veil of death, but none of them have been proven. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at some of the most haunted places on Earth where paranormal activities are a constant occurrence and could be a small glimpse of what happens after we die. Hoia-Baciu Forest, Romania. Hoia-Baciu has gained paranormal infamy around the world when a UFO hovering over the forest in 1968 was captured in a photograph by a military technician. Some people believe the forest is a portal that causes visitors to disappear, and those who have been able to cross through the forest and tell about it have reported rashes, nausea, and feelings of anxiety, according to The Independent. Known as the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, Hoia-Baciu is an eerie place populated by spooky curved trees and crazy paranormal sightings. Local folklore that has grown throughout the centuries has helped create an aura of mystery around the forest. Some of the most popular legends include one about a young girl vanishing into the forest and returning 5 years later with no recollection of what had happened. Another tale involves a shepherd and a herd of sheep disappearing in the forest without a trace. Today, some people report leaving the forest with an uneasy feeling or unexplained rashes. On the other hand, some enter and return from the Hoia-Baciu forest entirely unscathed, saying that it's just a nice place to go for a quiet walk. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Eastern State Penitentiary was once the home of thousands of prisoners that experienced countless atrocities. Its history is filled with suicide, disease, murder, and torture. So it would come as no surprise if there were countless of troubled souls stuck in this place. The harsh punishments used on prisoners are enough to make you shiver even without seeing a ghost. There was the water bath, in which inmates were dunked in ice-cold water, then hung on a wall in winter until ice formed on the skin. Then there was a mad chair, which bound an inmate so tightly that circulation was cut off, later necessitating amputations. The iron gag, in which an inmate's hands were tied behind the back and strapped to an iron collar in the mouth, so that any movement caused the tongue to tear and bleed profusely. And then there was the hole, a dark underground cell where unfortunate souls had no light, no human contact, no exercise, no toilet, and little food and air. The prison, which closed in 1971, is considered by several sources to be one of the most haunted places in America. Dozens of paranormal researchers visit every year and report that it's a hub of otherworldly activity. Perhaps most convincingly, there are the stories of eerie experiences by visitors, staff, guards, and inmates that have corroborated each other since the 1940s. Cell Block 12 is known for echoing voices and cackling. Cell Block 6 for shadowy figures darting along the walls. Cell Block 4 for visions of ghostly faces. Many people have reported seeing a silhouette of a guard in one of the towers, footsteps, walls, and whispers. One of the most legendary tales comes from Gary Johnson, who helps maintain the crumbling old locks at the prison. In the early 1990s, he had just opened an old lock in cell block 4 when he says a force gripped him so tightly that he was unable to move. He described the negative, horrible energy that exploded out of the cell. He said tormented faces appeared on the cell walls and that one form in particular beckoned to him. Aokigahara Forest, Japan. This picturesque forest at the foot of Mount Fuji has a frightful history. It has been the site of 500 reported suicides since the 1950s, as reported by the BBC, earning its name as Suicide Forest. Some blame this trend on the forest's association with demons in Japanese mythology. Others say it is due to large underground deposits of iron, which can interfere with compasses of travelers, making it easy to get lost. As a matter of fact, many adventurers exploring the forest will mark their path with tape or string to make it easier to find their way back out again. Some believe the ghosts of those abandoned by the mournful spirits of the suicidal linger in the woods. Folklore claims they are vengeful, dedicated to tormenting visitors and luring those that are sad and lost off the path. Island of the Dolls, Mexico City. Just south of Mexico City, between the canals of Xochimilco, you can find a small island with a sad background known as Isla de las Muñecas, Island of the Dolls. It is dedicated to the lost soul of a poor girl who was found drowned in mysterious circumstances many years ago on this island, and the story tells that the dolls are possessed by her spirit. The small island is home to hundreds of terrifying dolls. Their severed limbs, decapitated heads, and blank eyes adorn trees. Some witnesses claim they have heard the dolls whispering to each other, while others say that the dolls move their heads and arms and even open their eyes. Yikes. A local man, Julian, apparently tried to save the girl but failed, so he dedicated his life to honoring her ghost by bringing spirits to the island dolls as gifts. After 50 years of collecting dolls and hanging them on the island, Julian was found dead, drowned in the same spot where the girl did. Poveglia, Italy. In the South Lagoon between Venice and Lido sits the small Italian island of Poveglia, that for centuries has been a refuge, stronghold, place of exile, and a dumping ground for the deceased, dying, and diseased. In 1348, the bubonic plague arrived in Venice and Poveglia. Like many other small islands, it became a quarantined colony. The plague killed 1 out of 3 Europeans. Fearing the unbridled spread of the disease, Venice exiled many of its symptom-bearing citizens there. It was clearly a death sentence. At the island's center, the dead and those too sick to protest were burned on a giant pyres. This included tens of thousands of Venice citizens dying on the mainland. These fires would burn once more in 1630 when the Black Death again swept through the city. This brings us to the Poveglia Asylum in the late 1800s. The area's mentally ill resided in an asylum in Poveglia. The asylum was poorly constructed and was used as a place of exile rather than rehabilitation. There are rumors that in the 1930s a doctor performed strange experiments on the patients here. Eventually, the doctor went mad and threw himself from the asylum's tall bed tower. Though the bell in the tower was removed decades ago, locals still claim to hear its chimes echo from the lonely island. The dudes from Ghost Adventures got all kinds of spooked on the island. Their episodes on Poveglia, where the crews stranded themselves there for 24 hours, is full of perceived curses, apparitions, creepy music, weird energy, inexplicable equipment malfunctions, and off-the-charts ghost monitors. These dudes use their best Italian to ask the ghosts pertinent questions like, "Are you a murderer?" and seem to get responses from the dark abyss. Mysterious bangs, audible footsteps, disembodied voices, and strange orbs are all captured on video and audio. Carrington Psychiatric Hospital, which is now the Unitec Institute of Technology in New Zealand. Auckland's first asylum was built here in 1853 and is now used by the Unitec's Departments of Architecture, Design, and Contemporary Arts. Numerous deaths were reported while the asylum was open, and to make things even creepier, the hospital was ruined by fire, not once but 2 times. It is reported that ghosts from the asylum's past are now haunting students and staff of Unitec. Reports of paranormal activities include flickering lights, items being thrown off the shelves, voices when no one is around, and people being pushed on the stairs. Aradale Hospital, Australia. Another asylum that is included on our list is the Aradale Hospital. With its 130-year history, it is said to be the location of over 130,000 deaths. Considered to be one of Victoria's creepiest sites, with countless reports of paranormal activity spawning through 60 buildings and 100 acres in Aradale, it is most definitely haunted. It is rumored that visitors of the building often experience unexpected fainting, nausea, and pains while walking through certain rooms of this haunted hospital. Do you believe in the paranormal? Comment down below why or why not.